Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Oh, hey, Internet. Welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and if you are new to the show, this is a podcast where I have my friends on, we have a couple drinks, and we talk about life. It's like a drinking variety talk show. I am so excited for you guys to hear this week's episode, because this is the long-awaited episode with Jay and Kat. Now, if you remember, back a couple weeks ago, I did an intro and I talked about losing an episode that I was absolutely heartbroken about. Well, we got together and re-recorded. So I have my friends Jay and Kat on this episode, and it is awesome. Now, Jay's been on already. He did a previous episode with me all about body image, and that is a great episode. I'll make sure to leave a link to that one below. If you haven't heard it yet, it's fantastic. But this time he's here with his girlfriend, Kat, and I love this couple. I just want to say that the first time we recorded this, I hung out with them all night. We had a jam session afterwards, and it was just one of the best times ever. And re-recording it was just as fun. I gotta say, I knew I couldn't recreate what we did that first night, but we came out of it with something probably even better. So obviously it's a couples episode, so we talked about their relationship, so their origin story, which is very interesting and quite the story, and about them playing music together. They are a musical duo called the Rowdy Two. Check out their YouTube and check out their Facebook page. There'll be links below. So please give them a like on Facebook and subscribe to their YouTube channel. They are two amazingly talented people. They do a really cool thing where they actually take requests and learn a song on the fly, and then they live stream playing it on Facebook, and it is so cool. So I can't say enough good things about Jay and Kat. Had a blast during this episode. It is a long one, but you want to know what? I don't care. It was so good that I didn't want to cut it down. I mean, honest to God, you guys, not only do I love these two people individually, but I love them together. Recording with them the first time, it was so cool to sit back and watch their reactions to each other talking about each other. It was literally the cutest thing I've ever goddamn seen. And recording a second time, I was like, oh, it's probably not going to be as cute. No, it was just as cute. Especially seeing Kat react to how Jay was talking about her at the end of the episode. It's really the sweetest thing ever. I love them. So with the long episode in mind, I'm going to just get to some housekeeping items before we get into the episode. I want to talk about Patreon. If you are a listener of the show, I can't stress enough how much we would appreciate becoming a member of our community on Patreon. And if you're unfamiliar with it, it's essentially just a website that you sign up to, and you can support the show by giving a monthly donation. It can be anywhere from $1 to I think $20 is our highest level. And with your donation, you do get some rewards. So things like shoutouts on the show, early access to episodes, and bonus content. So we actually do record bi-weekly bonus episodes that you can get if you are a $10 and up Patreon. And speaking of $10 and up Patreons, huge shout out to Zoe and Tyler. Thanks so much for supporting Intoxicated and keeping Corey and I on our game. Keeps us motivated to work hard on the show, so I can't say thank you enough to them. So if you like the podcast, certainly check out Patreon. We would love the support. You can also support the show by giving us a follow on social media. That is Facebook and Instagram, Intoxicated Podcast, on Twitter at @in_toxicated, and feel free to email us questions, feedback, really anything you want at all, to intoxicatedpodcast@gmail.com. Do make sure you do hit subscribe as well on Apple Podcasts or whatever app you are using so that you don't miss an episode, and subscribe to Intoxicated Reviews as well. If you're a pop culture, movie, and TV junkie, you will love Intoxicated Reviews. It is hosted by Corey, who is the pop culture expert on Intoxicated, so go check that out. That's all for now. I hope you enjoy this episode. Back from the dead with the Rowdy Two, Jay and Kat. Anyways, y'all. Oh, and welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. I have two guests here that have risen from the dead.
Hello, everybody.
That deleted episode.
Stop that. Stop it.
It's actually creepy. Sorry. Guys, I'm here with Jay and Kat.
Hello.
The angels of the hour, because they have agreed to re-record with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
After I lost their episode, which was the most heartbreaking moment of my life.
In fairness to you, you didn't lose the episode. Your computer lost the
That's
episode.
true.
Fault.
And I remember like messaging and just being like, "Oh my god, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna be so mad that I wasted their night." And
It was fun. We got drunk and we talked.
I had a fucking blast. We had a jam session at the end. It was fucking fantastic.
You know how we're talking about narcissists? Like,
Yeah.
This is great. We're both like,
We'll just do it again.
I want to do it again. Let's talk about ourselves again.
The people want to hear what we have to say.
This is the most important thing that anyone will ever hear in their lives. Information about Jay and Kat's relationship.
No, honestly, I walked away from that episode being like, that was the best, not only one of the best couples episodes I've done, but like one of the best just InTalksicated, because it was like tangent-y in the best way. And like, we'll probably bring up some of these tangents, but we talked about religion at one point. Oh god, I don't even remember what, I remember the religion one. I'm sure there were
was a good
others.
tangent.
I remember a few things we talked about. Probably there are a lot more things that I don't remember, but hey.
Yeah?
We went on just like general relationship tangents.
Oh, big time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't even remember what it was so long ago.
So it can't
and
be-
we were drunk.
So
That's just it.
Let's rediscover it.
Yeah.
we're not going to try to recreate it because it can't be recreated. But we're going to go over your guys' relationship and see what the fuck happens. How about that?
Yeah, why
I'm
not?
here
Why
for the
not?
ride.
So we are here with Jen Cat, and we are drinking Wiser's vanilla whiskey, right?
Yeah.
Can I
Let's go.
Yes,
Cheers.
cheers.
bring over
There you
cheers?
go.
Eyes, eyes, eyes,
Mm-hmm.
eyes.
Prost. Oh.
It's really good.
Slancha.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a bad choice.
Kampai.
Did you take? What did you eat something bad?
Yeah, I had a fry in my mouth when we did that.
Whiskey fry.
Ugh.
Whiskey fry.
That's not what you
Full
want.
disclosure, Jay and I have fries and chicken bites from Dirty Nelly's between us.
Yes, I just came from Dirty Nelly's where I play my show.
That's right.
And they happen to treat us very well there. So
Do they give you free food?
they give us one free meal
okay.
each after the show. Well,
That's pretty
I
big.
shouldn't say. I mean, yeah, it is
Not
one free
each.
meal, but like I ordered enough so that Kat and I could both eat when I got home. And
He fed me so
Oh, that's some sweet. So speaking of sweet,
yeah,
you guys are dating and living together.
we are. Yes,
So-
this is our apartment.
Let's go back to the beginning. I know you told it already, but you're gonna tell it again. God damn it.
Got to.
How did you guys get together?
Well,
Give it to us. Here we go.
Well, I was working at the Keith's Brewery down on Lower Water Street, where we do brewery tours. And at this point, I've been working there for 4 years. I've just started my 5th year. And shortly before I think I became a supervisor there, Kat and a few other people were hired on. Was
like
that?
a few months before.
Yeah. It was. I think I was being tested for becoming a supervisor by training Kat and the other new hires in the music and a few other things.
And it was the end of the summer, so it was a smaller group. So it was myself, our friends Keats and Adam, and then there was an additional girl who, after the first week, decided that it wasn't for her. So it was literally the 4 of us.
So like intimate.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that is the kind of group that I work best with.
Yeah.
And to put it in a bit of context for you, at the moment, for the last few weeks, I have been training a much larger group of about 25 people, with
Just a couple
half
more than
returning
4.
hires, half the new hires. And it's just been amazing and ridiculous and stressful and
Challenging.
rewarding and super challenging.
It's a very, very busy time of
Yeah,
year.
and I find myself frequently wishing, God, I wish I could go back to just training 3 people.
Oh, really though?
and then eventually dating one of them.
Oh god.
Ding, ding, ding.
But like that was way off at that
Yeah,
point.
that's
Right.
true.
Because when I started that summer, I was dating someone that I'd been dating for like 2 years at that point. So not a short relationship by any stretch of the imagination, but we had moved to Halifax together. We'd been living there for the better part of a year. Like, it was a serious relationship. So when I started the brewery, Jay and I were just friends.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had a little crush on him.
I was good with just friends.
This was one of my favorite parts about your guys' episode, the idea of having crushes on each other.
Yeah, well...
A little bit.
I mean, when she first got hired on, the first thing I noticed about Kat was that she could...
Has a lot of hair.
She had a lot of hair. That was definitely the first thing that I noticed. And also that she and I had a lot in common geek-wise.
Right.
Because, I'm a very... I'm openly geeky, and Kat was very much the same way. Also, she could handle herself musically, which, of course, just that's a box checked for me.
Well, all the boxes are being checked.
Yeah, geeky and musical. Those are both of my boxes.
Yeah,
boobs. It's great.
Yeah, geeky, musical, boobs. That's it. Those are my 3 boxes.
I mean, those are good boxes.
Yeah, I mean, they work out well for me so far.
And they worked out great for me.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I mean, I don't have boobs, so I don't know what...
They're fantastic.
I know that is one possible box for you, but I don't know.
I'm more of a butt person, but that's...
Yes, I get that.
So, I mean, friends, but there was, I remember the very first, couple weeks I was doing tours, because when I started at the brewery, it was still old tour style.
Right.
So we went back to 1863. We all had our own historical costumes.
So crazy.
I loved mine so much.
She had her chemise and her petticoat. And the
corset and skirt.
The corset and skirt, exactly.
Was that a bitch to wear?
No, I loved it.
Yeah?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, man, so many of the girls at work complain about their chemises and their corsets.
Well, I mean, mine was made with my measurements, so it fit.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, of course, during the winter, gained up some extra weight, so it was a little tighter.
Right.
But then by the end of the summer, it was too loose, so it was a good fit.
Right.
So I love wearing my corset.
Oh my god.
But I remember there was at least one in particular instance I remember is I was standing at the top of the stairs as the character of Annie, who kind of welcomes everybody onto the tour. Mm-hmm. And Jay was standing at the bottom of the bar tunnel as he was doing the Archie character that day. And we would sign to each other what song, or I would sign to him what song I wanted to sing when I came down for the tour that was currently heading down to the bar.
It's a very intricate kind of tour.
It's very intricate. It's a whole tour in 1 hour, and it was people running all over the place.
Yeah. Hour-long tours running every half hour.
That's insane.
Oh, it was amazing.
It gets crazy.
So, I explicitly remember me miming to him, mountains, because I wanted to sing the song Mist Covered Mountains.
Himine Morena.
Oh,
it's a Gaelic song.
Oh,
I love the song.
Yeah, it's a Gaelic song.
I'm singing in my head now.
I wish I could remember it.
I'm sure you'd remember it pretty
maybe.
quickly. So I mean, we were there and kind of mouthing to each other, and I'm just I think I was really, really excited about this easy sense of play, and he was just very charming and easy for me to get along with, and it's interesting because I think he has, at least it seems like, perspective of other people. He's very much a personality where you need to get used to it. Where your sense of humor is very dry or wry and kind of witty.
I have learned that is true.
But I never found that myself, and we conversations for us usually flowed pretty easily. So
here's what I've learned about my sense of humor. It was very much shaped by
George
the pop culture, especially George Carlin, but all the pop culture that I absorbed while I was growing up and up to this point, which of course on TV, if somebody says a sarcastic comment or just dry humor, everybody just moves on right from there. That was just a comment that happened. Everyone can laugh for a moment and move on.
Right. And
it never once occurred to me that that's not how things work in real life.
Not for everybody. See, because for me, I'm not a sarcastic person. I feel,
I'm so
but I feel like
sarcastic.
the majority of people are sarcastic.
These days, I'd say you're right. And here's the thing: I didn't
much
realize
cynicism.
it. I didn't even realize that there was something different about my sense of humor. Like I knew that sometimes I would have trouble relating with people sometimes, but it wasn't until our boss Jeanette brought it up to me. Hey, sometimes you can come off as kind of an arsehole. Like she didn't say it just like that, but that was the message.
Arsehole.
And I was just like, what? Wait, what? Really? Like, I thought I was just being charming, like those people on the TV.
What do you mean there's not a laugh track attached to what I'm doing right now? Like, I don't understand.
You mean if I don't
get it.
act sarcastic and really dry wit towards everybody, I won't become everyone's favorite character? I don't know how this works. So it was interesting to me. But of course, certain people do react well to that kind of humor, and those are the people that I usually end up becoming very close to, because that's become just who I am. It's not anymore just a matter of mimicking what's on TV. That's just how I relate to people now.
Right.
Preset scenarios.
Exactly.
I think you told a story on the Dead episode about a coworker like taking you out for drinks or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm going to preface this very
you go.
quickly because we need a little backstory before we get to this point. So at the middle end of April, so after I'd been at the brew for almost a year, I was having a really, really, really tough time mental health wise, and wasn't really happy in my relationship. Of course, had been attracted to Jay and worked with him like every single week, like without fail, every single Sunday. While
we worked well together.
Yeah,
And Jeanette saw it.
Yeah, and I loved working Sundays, and like I knew that I kind of had a crush on Jay, and I couldn't do anything about it because I was in a relationship with someone else, and then I had this whole mental health breakdown thing end of April that culminated with myself and my partner moving to this apartment. So in Halifax, from Dartmouth to Halifax.
That's right. You were living in Dartmouth when you first got hired. I forgot about that.
And I hated it because my life was like completely run by the transit system, which was all gone to fuck because of the Big Lift project.
Yeah, let's just be real here. Halifax Transit sucks. Yeah.
I mean, thank you, Halifax Transit, for getting Sarah safely to the apartment. But you suck.
You suck most of the time. There are a few okay situations. Yeah. But generally speaking,
I'm generally seeking better transit.
Yes, we are generally seeking a better transit system.
Nice segue.
We'll drink. Yes. So I moved to Halifax just in time for us to start training period, which is what Jay is currently doing right now.
Yeah, so that was spring training season, which is when we hire this is when we hire as many people on as we can, like almost as many people as apply usually. And then we end up, like I say, training 20, 25 people all at once, some of whom know some of the stuff we're getting into, some of whom don't. And either way, there's a bunch of changes that need to be made. Altogether, it's a time of extreme information passing, and for me and Haley, the other supervisor, and Jeanette, our creative director, a time of very high stress.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And like extra stress because during this particular training period, we had just changed the tour completely.
Yeah.
So we were no longer doing historic tours. They completely re-updated the brewery. They decided that they were going to actively use it to brew beer, to like get into the craft brewing kind of side of things.
Yeah, so it was a totally new script now.
Completely
so
different.
Even the returning hires, and even me, like I was the only supervisor at the time, and this was my first time going through the script. Oh yeah, Catherine was still on it at that time. At a certain point, I was the only supervisor on shift, I remember. And it was still me getting used to this script, but also teaching it to people.
It was ridiculous.
I had to act like I knew what I was talking about.
Because you're learning it too, but you're trying to also teach people how to learn
like
it.
I'm learning it and then being like, oh, this is exactly how it is. This is how it must be all the time. And I absolutely know exactly what I'm talking about at all
Confidence,
times.
you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I did.
So we were spending a lot of time together because both learning new things, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Like, I'm spending more time with Jay than I was with my partner at the time. And, like, just more and more and more, I was just like, I cannot do this. Like, I am so unhappy. I see that I have feelings for this person and that I cannot deny.
Right.
Like, I need to do something about this. And my friend Susanna, who also worked with us at the brewery and had been hired on, like, she was kind of my sounding board. And one day she was like, you just, like, it's very obvious that you are not happy with your partner. Like, you need to
get the heck out.
Something needs to change. So I came home one day and it was brutal. I came home one day and I broke up with him. And I felt horrible because it was one of those situations where, you know, you still love and care for a person, but you know that your own happiness and your own mental health do need to come first.
Yeah.
And they were not the right person for you to get you the proper mindset that you needed to be in. It was not a healthy relationship. So I ended it. He quit his job the next day, and then the day after that moved back to PEI, where he was from.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like going from... It's just like one of those situations where your life gets turned upside down.
Yeah.
Like, because I had a breakup like that too, where one day I was planning like a trip home for Christmas. I was buying him Christmas gifts, and then the next day I was like, oh, okay, I think I just lost the person that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. It's you have
horrible.
no time to fucking process it. Because you're just like, well, I guess this is happening. What the fuck can I do?
And, like, I didn't do it to be malicious. Like,
No, of course not.
I felt so bad. I mean, you saw what I went through for a while as well,
did.
and it was brutal.
And the thing is, if you take too much time to figure out what you need and, like, figure out that you need to be away from that person, that's not only not fair to you, that's not fair to the other person.
Exactly.
You're just wasting their time and abusing their feelings.
I mean, to be fair, I probably could have done it in a much nicer way instead of coming home and just being like, I can't do this
Here's
anymore.
the thing, we
But
always say that. There is no nice way to do
so
it.
true.
Like, what are you going to do, take them out for ice cream? Like, this is your breakup ice cream.
I mean, like,
Disney World.
I could have offered to, like,
Disney World.
stay at someone else's place.
Ruin
like,
Disney
and he
World
could have,
forever.
like, packed his shit up because he didn't even get to do that, really. And, like, I felt really bad. He didn't want anything, so in the end,
Did he try to fight for it?
no.
So was he kind of checked out too?
I mean, I don't know, I guess. I remember at one point, like, telling him I wanted, like, maybe taking a break would be a good idea, and he didn't want to do that. And I remember another time he asked me if I wanted to do, like not like an open relationship thing, but, like, have an open, quote-unquote, open relationship. I said no, and he was like, good, because if you said yes, I would have known you were cheating on me. And I was like,
what?
This was this was 2.5 years into our relationship. And, like, I do not cheat on people. I had an ex-boyfriend cheat on me, and it fucked me up for a year.
Does it ever?
Yep.
It fucks personality.
I don't do that either.
I was crazy ex-girlfriend and I hate that term, but like, I was crazy ex-girlfriend for a solid year, and it was stupid, and I also feel bad about that.
Yeah.
So I don't cheat on people, because that level of disrespect for a person that, you know, has put a lot of time and effort into you, and you've put a lot of time and effort into them, so disrespectful.
Yeah.
And just fucked.
It's so important to, if you find yourself wandering, to be open with yourself about it, and to that person you are with before acting on those things.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is something that so many couples need to do, is fucking talk.
For real.
Talk to each other.
Communication is so important.
The most key.
Because there's nothing wrong with maybe your mind wanders a bit, maybe you want to fuck someone else, or like
But then talk about it.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's how you do it and how you deal with it that makes it wrong.
Yeah.
So you can either cheat and be a fucking asshole, or you can try to, like, talk about that with your partner and figure something out, maybe. Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
Yes.
So, anyway, so I broke up with him. I told Jay that night, just mentioned it. And then I got to work the next day, and the kid was grinning.
Were you? Like smiling?
Not grinning, like ear to ear when I walked in the door, but like you could tell he had like an air about him, a little extra pep in his step.
Interesting.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Jay is like looking
it was
so confused
obvious.
right now.
You wore a button up that day. You like, the minute I walked into the bar, because I told him one day, I'm like, you look really good in button ups, and you wore button ups for like a solid week after that, and I was like, you care about what I think.
Oh my god, that is so cute.
I don't know, like when people tell me that I look good and stuff, I wear the stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's logical.
But I want to know what was going on in your mind, because
I mean, for me,
were you a little bit like relieved?
I mean, here's the thing. Before that whole breakup happened, like there had been feelings on my end, and a lot of it, like I do remember one specific instance, and we talked about this on the Dead episode, the last episode.
I love that we're calling it that.
I like the Dead episode. It sounds so friggin' epic.
Yeah.
There was a point where I was working in the retail store at Keith's, and Kat was working a shift on the tours, and I was working with
Annie, probably.
Yeah, probably. That was the person who interacted most directly with the store. And she just came down and asked, like, hey, how many people are on the next tour or something like that. And I was just like, oh, yeah, fucking this number, whatever it is. And then when she walked away, the person that I was working with at the time in the store, this dude, he was just like...
Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie. Carrie, I was going to avoid saying the name, but okay. Hi, Carrie.
Carrie, you're awesome.
Yeah, Carrie is awesome.
And
Carrie,
has a lovely fiance right now.
Yeah, Carrie was a great guy.
And 2 dogs that are so cute.
Yeah.
Want that
Carrie's
life.
awesome.
Yeah. So we were working there, and I always liked working with Carrie. And then, when Kat came to the store, and then she walked away, and he was just like, man, she is, like, really cute. And there's just this moment where I think that was when I first realized that what I had been feeling for her wasn't just the normal, like, ooh, this is a person that fulfills all the things that I am attracted to.
Checks the boxes.
Yeah, that was the moment where I was just like, wait, no, yeah, she really is, like, really cute.
Wasn't also part of you kind of thinking, and, like, be honest about this, like, when he... Is Carrie a guy?
Yes.
Yeah, Carrie's
Okay.
a guy.
Like, when he said, she's cute, was a part of you kind of like, back off, she's mine? Like, be honest, because
No, like,
that happens sometimes, like, when there's single people, someone says something like, ooh, that person, and then in your head you're thinking, oh, fuck, but I wanted to maybe pursue that. I'm like, now what do I do? Do I say something?
At some level, I think yes. I think there was a part of me that was just like, he thinks she's cute, but I think she's cute. But I have to get to her first.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, at the same time, like, consciously, I knew that Carrie wasn't going to make a move on her because I think he was in a relationship at the time.
Oh, okay.
He was
better.
making an observation, and
Right.
that observation helped me to come to terms with the observations I had personally made
Right.
and come to terms with certain feelings that I was having. So then getting back to what we were talking about before, where there was one day when Adam, who was actually...
weeks after the breakup.
a couple weeks after the breakup, exactly. And he was one of the people who had been hired at the same time as Kat, who I had trained on the music. And, they've been working together, and they've been working with me for a few months at this point.
And Adam had recently been made supervisor.
Supervisor, yes, that's right. So he was the same rank as me at that time. And what happened was, after a shift that we were both working, he was just like, hey, Jay, do you want to go to the bar for just like a beer? Can I buy you a beer? And I was like, yeah, okay, I've got nothing going, that's fine. And I didn't know what it was about, but then when we got to the bar, he was just like, hey, man, I feel like maybe you don't like me that much, or like that we got off on the wrong foot or something. I'm getting these like vibes off of you that maybe we're not getting along. And it totally took me by surprise, because like I was saying earlier, my sense of humor doesn't necessarily come off as humor to some people. And I've even been told very recently, sometimes my sarcasm just sounds like I'm just saying things.
Right.
And that's not good. I don't like
that?
I can't remember who said it. Just like somebody,
hilarious.
one of the returning hires just mentioned, like, sometimes I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or if you really believe what you're saying. And when Adam brought that up with me, I was just like, dude, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. Like, I think you're a great guy. I think you're like, you've got all these great qualities, and I definitely don't have anything against you.
Right.
So we ended up having a very frank discussion about like where we stood and like the different things. Like we got off on sort of a couple of tangents there, and just ended up having a very honest conversation.
Fucking love that.
Yeah, like I had 2, maybe 3 beers. I can't remember at this point.
So tipsy.
Yeah, so tipsy.
Kid can't hold his liquor.
And, you know, it was a very enlightening conversation, and I'm very glad that we had it. And later that night, I know you are. Later that night, Kat and I ended up going to the same karaoke night at the Fickle Frog, wasn't it?
Because I had invited you over to work on lines.
Yes, that was what happened.
Because we wanted to memorize the new like tour script that we had.
The new script, because I was still working on it even as I was teaching it to people.
Right.
So he came over. We like did a little bit of work until he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Can I show you Jekyll, which is his favorite TV show?
It's definitely one of my favorites.
And you have it on USB at all times?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I have it in the external hard drive in the next room.
Nice! Just ready to go.
Oh,
So we watched that episode, and then we went to karaoke.
Yeah, and by the way, showing someone Jekyll is basically my acid test of whether or not they are a compatible mate for me. I guess is the word I would use.
It's very good.
I think everyone has a show like that.
Yeah, and like Doctor Who used to be my acid test, but even
I was
people
already into Doctor Who though when you met me, so
I knew that, and you know, Doctor Who is very much all around accessible,
right?
Whereas Jekyll is very specifically like, if you're one kind of person, this is scary and weird. Yes. If you're another kind of person, this is kind of sexy.
I love
this
it.
is intriguing and sexy.
And
that's cool.
And I just want to say as well, because he'd been telling me about Jekyll for a while, and I've just thought of this. Before I actually watched the episode. And if you know Jay, you know that half of his language is quotes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, minimum half.
Like in a sentence, half of it is quoted and half of it is original thought. It's great.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
At all.
And even my original thoughts are just amalgams of various quotes.
Yeah, I reference Wayne's World way too much. Like, probably on a daily basis.
Party time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon?
Yeah. No, my favorite... there's so many. I could actually do a whole Wayne's... I've thought about doing an episode where me and my friend Kurt, who also loves Wayne's World, would just...
recreate the entire
Yes!
Can I get in on this?
It's amazing! I really want to do it! But come on.
So... Like, during training period, one day a whole bunch of us decided to go for all-you-can-eat sushi. And we were sitting at the table, and Jay straight up recited an entire monologue from Jekyll. And I was sitting beside him, just like internally fanning myself.
Uh-huh.
Susanna, the same friend, at one point, like, afterwards, she was like, yeah, I saw you melt.
Clean up an aisle 5.
It was so intense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. And then
there's
we
something
watched
about
the
that
actual episode, and it was phenomenal.
Anyone who's passionate about anything...
The best thing Stephen Moffat has ever done.
It really is.
I need to check it out.
The only good thing Stephen... No, he's done some good things.
I mean, honestly, I like a lot of his Doctor Who episodes. Because, I mean... Here's the... I mean, Matt Smith was a really good doctor, and I feel like he played Stephen Moffat's script as well as he could. Same with Peter Capaldi. Capaldi was just an amazing doctor. And Stephen Moffat...
Russell T. Davies.
I know. Russell T. Davies brought Doctor Who back to life, and he was amazing. Stephen Moffat did the best he could, but Stephen Moffat does well with short arcs.
Yeah.
And Doctor Who was not about short arcs.
But Jekyll was a perfect short arc.
Yes.
What did you think of the Christopher Eccleston?
Eccleston.
The only reason I know that is because he's a character in The Leftovers, which The Leftovers is my Jekyll.
Yeah.
That's the show that would be my acid... Did you say acid test?
Yeah. Acid test, yeah.
Because that's a really weird show that not everyone can get down with. But if you can get down with The Leftovers, then you can probably get down with Mr. Robot, which is another one. Like, it just opens up another world of shows. But like he was on Leftovers, and I know that he played Doctor Who.
I feel like Arrested Development is mine, and you passed that one.
That's a good one.
Of course. I feel like Parks and Rec is yours. You were on me for fucking months to watch Parks and Rec.
The only reason you watched Arrested Development before Parks and Rec is because Arrested Development was on Netflix.
Truth.
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
which got canceled by Fox and the next day picked up by NBC.
So happy.
Suck it, Fox.
So happy.
Honestly, that is the right network for them.
Yeah. What were they doing on Fox?
Because I think they were on NBC for a bit, and then they switched to Fox.
Yeah.
And now they're back to NBC. And I guess the guy at NBC came out being like, I regret it letting go of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah,
and now's my time to get
do.
it back. I was like... Good. This is the best day ever. I somehow knew when it got canceled that it wasn't going to be gone. Yeah.
It gave me my favorite substitute for That's What She Said. Title of your sex tape.
Yeah.
Best one. A good title of your sex tape moment is I Snapchatted out a picture of two McNuggets that were perfectly intertwined. They were perfectly intertwined to look like a yin yang, and so I was like McNugget, yin yang, and someone wrote back, "That's disgustingly satisfying," and I was like, title of my sex tape. Like, yeah, that's my sex tape.
Actually, I have a good one too. Recently, I put something up on my wall, on my Facebook wall. That was basically just like take a band name and reduce it a little bit. Like, make it so that it's not quite as important as it was. Mm-hmm. And somebody took 5-finger death punch and made it 3-finger discomfort poke. And I was just like, title of your sex tape, 3-finger discomfort poke.
That's amazing. Holy smokes.
I was very proud of myself. It actually got more likes and reactions than the actual original post.
Amazing.
It's all about the comments, yo.
Yeah. But, getting back to the story we were telling. So, yeah, we went back. We practiced some script. I showed her the first episode of Jekyll. Mm-hmm. She was into it, which, as she has made clear, she was kind of already into it. Which I
was into you doing it.
Which I was completely oblivious to. Being a straight white male, I am completely oblivious to anyone having feelings towards me. Second law of sexual dynamics, if you think a girl's into you, you are wrong.
I don't think that's
true.
Until
you're not.
But that's the thing. First law of sexual dynamics, the girl is right.
Yeah. I mean,
always.
So you think I'm wrong, therefore you're right.
Well, no, I just feel like that can be bullshit sometimes.
True.
Because especially when you're dealing with someone like me who's like, I'm not subtle. Like, subtle is not my middle name.
What?
Yeah, but you gotta admit, a lot of girls are into that subtlety game. Like,
I'll just be like, hey, I really want to fuck you. And then they're like, good one. And I'm like, no, but seriously.
I've been that guy who's just been like, a girl says she wants to fuck me, she's gotta be like just kidding around.
Oh, man.
I don't know why anyone would think
we all need some more confidence, I think.
We honestly do. So what happened was, we practiced the script for a little bit. We watched an episode of Jekyll, and then we went to karaoke down at the Fickle Frog.
At Fickle Frog.
Fickle Frog. Great karaoke.
Which is not closed.
No,
and I do want to tell another quick tangent.
Yes.
Because we did go on this tangent on the Dead episode.
Go.
That should be the hashtag, is the Dead episode.
Hashtag Dead episode.
In fact, I kind of want to call this one the Dead episode. But this is the Alive
Revival.
episode. The revival of the Rowdy Two.
Realness.
Done.
Rowdy Two Revival.
That's it. Fickle Frog is a theme on many of my couples episodes. I've had 3 different couples episodes in which karaoke or the Fickle Frog has either brought that couple together or furthered their thing. So the Fickle Frog is the place to go if you want to, like, find the love of your life, essentially.
Apparently.
Like, that's just kind of how I feel.
Can't be too fickle.
It's the bar of my life. Like, it truly... has like formed friendships and like it's just
like
my bar.
it's like a cornerstone of your adult life.
Yes.
I've definitely had a lot of interesting encounters there.
Yeah.
I've gone to karaoke a couple times.
I've gone to karaoke a lot of times, and so when the Fickle Frog, there was rumors going around that it might be closing. They had like a staff night where it was really cheap drinks, and everyone went, and it was cash only. It was just a goddamn shit show. Like you walked in, and it was so packed. It was almost as if literally the world was ending, and like people were just like, fuck it, let's go drink.
Isn't that just Halifax on any given Thursday night?
Pretty much.
And even more now that patios are opening.
And I went in there being like, thinking that my favorite bar was about to close, and just, I got so fucking emotional. I was like going up to like people that I know, like regulars at the bar, and just like hugging them. Will we see you again? And like, I don't know if I'll ever get to bang in these bathrooms. I've always went to fuck in those bathrooms, and now they're not
Oh my god, you would get STIs
I know,
in those
but it's
bathrooms.
so hard to
Honestly,
me. I don't
though,
know what it is.
There's no way you could avoid getting an
It's
STI
that
in those
grease. It's
bathrooms.
built-in lube. It's great.
But I was just so goddamn emotional because I love
You wear
that
a goddamn hazmat suit and you're still getting an STI.
You know what? If it was chlamydia, I would take that risk and just
For the frog.
I would just get them pills and just deal with it.
Hey, you do you,
Jesus
boo.
Christ, that might have to be edited out.
Yeah, we'll see.
The
I say that a
fickle
lot, it never
frog.
happens.
The perfect occasion for every occasion.
For every occasion. But you guys went. So you guys went to karaoke?
Yeah, we went to karaoke that night. You know, it was a good time.
Yeah.
And then after, karaoke was done, I don't remember what we sang that night particularly. I imagine that
I
had
don't
a
think
few
we
drinks.
sang anything. We didn't stay
No?
for too long. My friend Becca was there, so we sat in like the main part of the bar and had thunder mugs while Jay argued with somebody, and I sat there having drinks.
Okay, I feel like I should remember this.
Just a normal occurrence.
Yeah, I don't know. I argue with a lot of people over a lot of shit.
But we didn't sing anything that night.
No.
Because it was so packed in the back corner. But I think we
think
didn't
it's
even
hot in
attempt
that bar,
to.
too.
Yeah.
It does.
So we just hung out in the main part.
Fair enough. Either way, when we went home, basically, Kat, I knew she, we had just went to her place before that, so I knew that she only lived a couple blocks away. And
He'd biked to my place from his apartment.
yes, I had left my bike at her apartment,
Sly boy.
which I don't know. I feel like
Oh no, it was my suggestion.
it was a little bit my idea and also her idea, and for me it was it was a good thing for me that she had suggested it, because I was like, oh well, that was my plan all along. So,
Right.
Because you were like prepared to take your bike with you. I'm like, no, just leave it here.
I think
didn't
I
want
was
you to take your
prepared
helmet
to, but
You didn't want
my
to?
plan
Oh my God, you sneaky
was to leave it here. So when we got back, of course, I walked her to the door. I came into the apartment just for a minute. A glass of water. I drink water constantly. Just
That's good, though.
Always
That's a
water.
good
If not water, then whiskey mixed with water.
So water.
Yeah, the water with
Enhanced.
alcohol in it. And when I was on my way out the door, I had my shoes and my coat on and everything, and I was about to leave. And then just before I left, there was a moment, because I was feeling extremely honest and open because of the conversation I had earlier that
you're in
night
the mood.
with
Tangents.
Adam. Yeah, exactly, with the guy at the bar. And of course, at that time, that conversation, if we hadn't been honest and open, then things could have gotten worse. And for me, I was just in the mood, you know what, being honest and open is exactly what I need to do right now.
Yeah.
So before I left, I basically turned around and was just like, hey, listen, you're really cute. You put cute to shame. And I know you just got out of a relationship, but I would really like to maybe hang out and see maybe if there's something between us.
Right.
And then she asked if she could kiss me, and I said yes. And we kissed, and then I
grabbed
left.
my butt.
I grabbed her butt, and then I left.
On the first kiss, you grabbed the butt?
Have you
He
seen
asked
her
for it.
butt?
You do got a nice butt.
It's an amazing butt.
Sorry, I'll just turn this way.
Nice butt.
It's a great butt.
But this is not a visual
Those are good
podcast.
pants for that butt too.
Yoga pants or worker pants cannot. You do not go wrong with that. How was the first kiss? What was that like?
Maybe a little awkward, but I mean, here's the thing: when you're
After the first kiss, I was just like, all right, we're gonna work on that.
That's so honest and awesome.
Because it was kind of like tight-lipped, like a little dry. I think he was a little nervous.
And also, here's the thing: whenever you get into
Kissing styles are
a
different.
first kiss with someone,
You don't know how
your
they
kissing
like to kiss.
style is going to be adjusted to the last person you kissed.
That's very true.
And my girlfriend that I had before kisses very differently from the way that Kat kisses.
Okay.
And like neither one is wrong or bad. They're just different. Exactly. It's like everybody has different needs. That's all
the
it
thing.
is.
It's I don't always. Well, I mean, with the exception of some, but like I wouldn't always say that someone's a bad kisser. It's just kissing styles need to mesh.
I mean, definitely some people are bad kissers.
That's true.
I am a good kisser.
You are.
I don't know what I am.
Would you say otherwise?
I should send.
If you were a bad kisser, I would not be here.
I'm a good kisser.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I've never been told one way or another.
I mean, I'll
Should I
kiss
send
you
that-
if you want to find
I
out.
mean, we can definitely experiment.
I got curious. Should we do it?
I will tell you. Come here.
Either and
pressure,
or both
no
of us are
pressure,
down if
no
you
pressure.
are.
I kind of want to send a mass text out to I'm just like
Live
who can
Instagram
I-
video. Live Instagram.
Who the fuck could I message that would be honest? That's the thing. I don't know. Oh, I know someone who would. I'm gonna text him right now. Good kisser. Podcast topic.
Need to know.
Yeah. Podcast tangent.
Respond ASAP.
Respond ASAP.
And we will update you all with the answer when it arrives. That's hilarious.
We'll see if I get a response from that. I mean, I'm assuming if you come back for more, then I'm probably okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so.
Yeah.
Apparently, my butt grabbing is noticeable.
He said yes.
Oh, hey.
Yay!
Immediate
Perfect.
yes.
Thank you. I kind of also want to write, I almost just made out with a girl. And
And I almost got to watch.
but man, that's so
Rowdy Revival.
That's so cool that like having that talk with your coworker like just put you in the mood to just be like, I'm gonna go balls out and tell people how I feel.
Not on the first date though. Like
No.
balls out. No,
No.
my balls
Waited
stayed
until
in.
a couple dates.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Well, it's because it was interesting. That night we made plans to kind of hang out the next day.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
It's
but it
alright.
didn't happen because he met me at work. We were gonna hang out when I got off work, and while I was at work, my ex-boyfriend had sent me a bunch of really shitty messages, like one where he told me that I'd made him feel like the last 3 years of his life had been a joke. And I'm just like, no, if you feel that way, that's not on me. That is on yourself.
Absolutely.
That's how you choose to think about it, really.
Right? So, like, I was in a super shitty mood, and I'm just like, I would love to hang out with Jay right now, but I feel really guilty. Because I
Right.
was still feeling really guilty at this point. Mm-hmm. And, like, even then, he would sometimes send me messages and say, like, about how, like, he heard that Jay and I were hanging out, and, like, all this shit. And I was like, how the fuck did you find out?
Does he have spies?
So it was really, really unfortunate.
Could have
But
been a mole at Keith's.
Yeah, really though.
he didn't know anyone.
But I get that, like, you don't wanna miss any chances.
No.
But then you're also still grieving that past relationship.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was, like you said, it was a better 3 years of my life.
That's a long
It
time.
was a long time. So,
But there was no overlap, and that's the key
that's
here.
the important thing.
Is that there wasn't, like, you realized that you weren't happy. The feelings for him were kind of an addition to that, but you realized you weren't, and you got out, and it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does suck when someone moves on quickly after you. It does.
Yeah.
But like, you will get over it in time, and with time you will realize we just weren't right for each other. And like, if someone finds the person that's right for them and the timing is just off, like, that's unfortunate, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
And we didn't even start dating
right.
until
Like a half
6
year
months
later.
after
Oh, really?
the fact.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
There were some discreet...
We were boning.
Yeah, we were. And we kept... admittedly... Bone! That's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference for the people listening.
Thank you, NBC.
Nine-Nine!
Thank you, NBC.
9-9!
9-9! Yeah, Terry Crews is amazing, by the way. But yeah, there were a few months there where, you know, we were sort of just seeing each other discreetly.
Yes.
And that was partially because, you know, we were working together and we didn't want to make things... I was technically her supervisor and we didn't want to make things complicated at work. And also partially we were doing it because it was really fucking hot that way.
Right.
Like,
it is. It's really fun to sneak around.
The secrecy is just... it gets you.
I mean, on top of that as well, I feel like you also... I mean, like, I feel like I was in a headspace where I was just like, I want to date this person a lot sooner than you were.
That may be true, yeah. I mean...
Because I feel like you need time to, like, get comfortable and know that you want to invest time and effort into a person.
Yeah.
Because it felt that way.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. Here's the thing. I recently... somewhat recently, I guess it would be in the last 1 or 2 years now, I have basically no sense of time anymore.
What is time?
Exactly. What the fuck is it? I watch Doctor Who. Time is wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Yeah.
Get rid of daylight savings.
But basically, fairly recently, I found out a term demisexual.
Oh, yes!
Which is that you that you are only attracted to people who you already... are basically friends with, that you have, like, gotten to know and you trust them. And the things, like, I don't know the technical terms that would define it, but a friend of mine told me that she identifies as demisexual. And when I first heard it, I was just like, wait, that's a thing that you can be? Mm-hmm. And the more I thought about it, the more I kept on thinking, like, this makes the most sense to me of anything, like, any identity that I've heard yet. Because for me, like, I've been in a few relationships and I've, you know, hooked up with a fair number of people. And for me, the ones that meant the most to me were the ones where I was friends first and then lovers.
Right.
Because I already knew the person. I already knew that I could get along with them, that we could coexist.
No, keep going. Sorry.
Well, it was just the same thing with Kat. Like, we got to know each other at work first, and then, you know, we would hang out occasionally outside of work. And then when her breakup happened, for me, that was like a door opening.
Right.
Like, the door was closed while she was in the relationship. That was just no option, no question. Yeah. And then as soon as the relationship was over, it was like the door creaked open just a little bit.
You can bond with her now. You can feel free to bond with her now. Yeah.
And, you know,
that's
it was also at the same time that we were, like, working on a new script together, so I needed help. Right. And she needed help, and we could help each other. Mm-hmm. And I think just the culmination of all those factors really came together. And
in a sexy way.
In a very sexy way.
Super sexy.
With butts. Her butt mostly.
It's so fascinating to me, the demisexuality thing, because...
What a great butt.
You say so.
Yes! Show me that booty.
I don't know. I just want to note that I'm not showing my butt at all.
No, it's just us.
I'm not joining that train, because I know I don't have a good butt.
Our pants are on. We'll just turn it around and bring everybody our best angle.
It's interesting that you talk about demisexuality, though, because I had my friend Triss on.
I love Triss, who's also in 9 to 5.
Yes. And
so good.
We were talking about the demisexuality thing. And, like, it's just interesting to me, the idea of labels, because people have a kind of love-hate relationship with the idea of all these labels. Oh, yeah. And it's like, these things have always existed. It's just we have names for them now. Yeah. So whether or not you want to hop on that label is up to you.
Exactly.
Like, I kind of feel like I'm the same way as you, but I don't think I would call myself demisexual.
It's all about, you know, how you feel most comfortable. Yeah. It's how you want to. If you don't want to identify by anything, then you don't have to. That was an accidental bell ring. Then don't. But if you do, if that makes you feel like the person that you want to be, then fucking
There's a
go
comfort
for
and a sense of
it.
unity in it.
Yeah.
Of knowing, like, okay, I'm
Having that
not
sense
a
of
weirdo.
community.
Yeah, I'm not a weirdo. There's other people like me. Sweet.
For me, I was comfortable with just the straight label.
Right.
And I still am. But honestly, for me, straight doesn't even make sense anymore. The more that I find out, the more that I learn about sexuality and humanity, for that matter, the less that, like, straight, I feel like, doesn't quite apply to anybody. Like, everybody, first of all, sexuality is a spectrum.
Big time.
And, like, maybe some people are 100% straight, 100% gay, something like that. But I feel like most people fall somewhere in that gray area in between.
Yes.
And secondly, like, me saying that I maybe identify with demisexuality doesn't necessarily preclude me being straight. But at the same time,
aspect
I
of you.
feel like even my straightness could be called into question, because I've had those moments of, like, you know, I'll check out butts. Like, I'll check out butts. It doesn't have to be a female butt. I will check out a butt.
You are very appreciative of when somebody has a quality or qualities that you find appealing.
Exactly. It
Regardless of gender, regardless of how they identify.
And that's-
like
Yeah.
anything.
That's an excellent quality
Exactly.
to have, actually.
And mind you, I do find myself only having romantic or sexual feelings towards,
People identify as female.
women or female-bodied people.
Right.
And that's, I don't know if how much of that has to do with just, like, the way that I was brought up, or the exposure I've had to certain aspects of culture, of our pop culture, and just general culture. But for me, it's never been as simple as I'm straight, I'm gay, I'm bi, whatever.
Right.
Like, it's so much more complicated than that.
So
I
complicated.
love you. Keep questioning everything.
But it's very refreshing to hear people talk about this honestly.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about it honestly. Here's the thing. One of my favorite George Carlin quotes, and we talked about my obsession with George Carlin earlier, like, favorite comedian of all time, really shaped a lot of my political views and my views on, honestly, humanity in general. And one of my favorite quotes of his was that kids don't need to be taught how to read. Kids who want to read are going to read. Kids who want to learn how to read are going to learn to read. Kids should be taught to question what they read. Kids need to be taught to question everything.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, because if you don't question what you read, then you're just going to believe everything. It's the same thing. Like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Everything. I love that quote.
Yeah, it's a great one. And with that, I'm going to finish my drink and go get a new
I
one.
also need another drink.
Ooh, yeah, drink break.
Is she empty?
Can you guys fill me up a little bit?
Fuck yeah.
Where did we leave off? We left off at the first kiss.
So, yeah, we left off with essentially our origin story.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you... So you said that you did the kind of sneaking around thing for like 6 months or so.
Something like
because
that.
you worked together. Did it just naturally form into we're BF and GF now?
What happened was
I had mentioned to him that I was interested.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to being in a relationship.
She brought it up first.
Yeah.
And, I had thought of it at that time, but at this stage in my life, I'm not rushing into relationships anymore. And I've done that before, and what I've noticed that rushing into it could have impacted the relationship that I had negatively. So I didn't want to rush into it, but at the same time, we were more or less acting like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right,
at the very
essentially.
least, just in that after either of our shifts, it would just be like, your place or mine. You know? So
That's amazing.
so at a certain point, I don't even remember whose place. It must have been your place we were coming from, because we went to the Blue Nose, the Blue Nose 2 diner up on
Yes.
is that Granville Street?
It's
Or?
Granville and Hollis.
Granville and Hollis, yeah. And we were eating breakfast, and basically she had brought it up before, and she brought it up again. Hey, so like,
Yeah, because he had said, ask me again sometime when I'm fed and sober.
yeah, because
So you were like, I'm on it.
We went, and I'm like, there, I bought you breakfast, you're sober, let's talk.
I love it.
and I believe it was we talked about it for like 5 minutes, and then I took
Are we really sure we want to do this?
Yeah,
I guess.
And I took my phone out and changed my relationship status.
Romance in a modern era.
God.
In a Facebook time.
That's how you make it official. That's just how it is.
I really. Oh, so I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were being quote unquote sneaky,
Yeah. I'm sure more people picked up on it.
I was just gonna say, did people pick up on it, or did?
Well, we had some coworkers be like, "I knew it," or like,
Yeah.
like finally things like that. I had a couple coworkers who knew. So Susanna, who I mentioned previously, my friend Naomi. I mentioned to my friend Amelia that I had a little bit of a crush on Jay at one point.
All 3 of them worked at the brewery.
And I think at one point I might have told Catherine. I can't remember.
Yeah, probably. Here's the thing, though. Something that I just learned, like, last week.
Oh my god, what?
I was talking to Jeanette, which is the creative director, like basically the head honcho for the brewery tours. And I can't remember how it came up, but basically, like, it came up that... she was just like, when did you two start dating? And I was just like, we started dating at this time, but then, we had been sort of like seeing each other for a little while before that. And she was just like, well, she was working here, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was just like, because I remember like seeing you two working together and just being like, when are they going to start dating?
Aww.
And I was like,
oh my god, that's
Jeanette.
cute.
That's really cute.
Oh, Jeanette.
We probably were sort of dating when you thought that.
How long did you wait? How long did you wait until you banged?
From the first kiss, about 2 weeks.
That's a long time, actually.
Which there was, I think I had been sort of pushing before that, and she had pushed back, and I had relented.
You were very good about it. You weren't like super pushy at all. Good.
I was trying to maintain forward momentum, but at no time did I want to overstep my bounds.
Oh my
That's
God,
good.
That's so sweet.
Guys, we have a non-entitled male in the room right now. It's this is refreshing as shit.
I mean, I'm a straight white dude, so I think I'm pretty much as entitled as it gets.
You are privileged.
Privileged, okay.
You're not entitled.
Fair enough.
There is a big difference.
I try to keep my privilege in check.
It's great. And then you moved in together how long?
Almost a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, I moved out of my old apartment in between June and July. Mm-hmm. So it would have been about July 1st that I would have had all my stuff in here.
Right.
But closer to the beginning of June. So we had been officially dating for maybe half a year, 3/4 of a year before that.
And I mean, I do consider like the beginning of like our quote unquote dating period sometime in like early-ish August.
Okay.
Just because he took me to the carnival.
That was your definition of our first date.
That to me was our first date.
And I see that.
Like he won me stupid stuffed shit.
You have it?
He bought me Smokey the Chip.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
I am holding up
won me it.
A sort of
it's
plushy,
a long wiener chimp that you'd put in front of the door to block drafts.
Yeah, and when we say wiener chimp, it's basically like a dachshund, but it's a chimp.
It's
and also, I love that it's to block drafts, but we know what it's for.
Yeah.
No, just saying no more, say no more. It's currently meat spinning Smokey the Chip.
Helicopter, thank you.
Meat spinning.
I highly regret not making this a visual podcast. Like, multiple times tonight, like
Where's
all
that
the butts and
all
that. I'm like, people missing out. Need to start recording these.
Okay, but because it is a podcast, I am very, very comfortably wearing yoga pants, a hoodie, and the hair that I put into a bun last night before I went to bed.
Me too.
Your bun's on point, though.
As because of the built-in frizz, everything looks like a messy bun. It's great.
Oh man! And what was living together like? Did you guys transition into living together like pretty well, or like?
Well, I found out that between the two of us, I'm kind of the neat one.
Yeah, but we knew before moving in with each other while we were still like before we were dating,
Banging.
we were banging. We knew that it was gonna be, not a clean apartment, because he doesn't like doing dishes and I don't like doing dishes. And
It's the
all that fun
fucking
stuff.
worst.
It's the fucking worst. And neither of us have ever lived in an apartment with a fucking dishwasher.
I love dishwashers.
Dishwashers
Higher power bill, though.
are the most underappreciated piece of technology that has ever existed.
I will take that power bill hike if I do not have to do dishes.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But like I'm definitely the messier of the two.
Which,
weird.
Those who know me know that is a fucking statement.
I'm very messy.
It's interesting to me because I have a lot of
No, I'm lazy.
I have a lot of guy friends and a lot of girlfriends,
Yeah.
and a lot of times guys are actually neater than girls.
I mean, for me...
There's a lot of females that I know that are not that neat. Like, we might not be slobs.
It's because
But, like, I'm
such
one
a
of them, too.
creative genius.
Yeah.
For me, the
I'm
only
not that
thing...
clean either.
The only thing that really makes me, quote-unquote, neater than Kat is the fact that when I take a dish from the kitchen to another room, I will remember to bring it back to the kitchen when I'm done with it.
And I remember to bring it back to the kitchen, but I'm also bringing, like, an additional plate and, like, 3 cups and a mug.
Which were left in the
them.
living room for, like, 2 weeks before that.
Stockpile them.
Stockpiling is not
stacking them on the
good.
counter
That's not the name of the game.
I relate to Kat more.
Thank you.
Yes.
I also live alone.
Don't ring the bell for that.
I also live alone.
Besmirch the bell.
No.
But the thing is, I live alone and I have no one to impress, so it's even worse.
Okay, well, that's
I
one
live with
thing.
him and I don't need to. No, I probably still need to impress you a little bit.
I would appreciate you taking a dish back
I do.
immediately after using it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's better to live with a significant other than like a general roommate.
I would agree.
Because do you find the little household fights they're just easier with a significant other? I find.
I mean, if you can yell at a roommate for whatever you like, but if you do that, like, before you yell at a significant other, you have to think, okay, how much sex am I willing to lose over this issue?
Yep, that's very true.
What
But
is
also
this
not true
fight
for me because I would never do that.
This could be like 4 blowjobs and 2 all the ways. I don't know.
all the ways. Where are we from the 80s right now? Like,
I went
what's
very high school
4
all of a
home
sudden.
bases.
you guys going steady
Home
or
base.
what?
He gave me his pin.
Or his school ring?
I gave you my homecoming jacket.
Yeah, but I asked her
God.
the Sally Hawkins dance, so there.
I'm leaving out a huge thing about you guys, which is that you do music together now. We need to talk all about this.
I mean, it was like
the Rowdy Two.
Yeah.
It was like we talked about earlier. One of the first things I knew about Kat was that she was musical, very much in the same way that I am, and that was very much a foundation of our building of our friendship and subsequently our relationship.
Yeah.
And
because I know that same thing, knowing that I'm, I get to collaborate or so with like someone who I believe is on a same level with a lot of the music that we do, and honestly above in many situations as well. You are fabulous at picking up literally any instrument it feels. And within like 5 or 10 minutes of just noodling, you've got something figured out.
Wow. I mean,
he's done that with my ukulele. First of all, he did that the night that we kissed.
Yeah.
The ukulele was sitting in my room, and he just picked up the ukulele, and within a few minutes had like this basic little strumming chord pattern
that's amazing.
I couldn't even do, and I've been working on it for a while.
I don't know.
But it's that level of adaptability and creativity and just an innate knowledge of how music works.
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
And it must be so nice to like speak the same language with each other.
I was actually just about to say just that. Like, music is basically just like a language.
Right.
Because not only does it have very specific rules, but it's also universal.
Right.
In that, like, of course, different cultures have different styles of music and different rules for music, but in the end, when you hear a song, you know what you're listening to.
Yeah. Oh,
and it very much is a great way to connect to people, and I think it's probably become my go-to method of connecting to people. If
best way.
that doesn't sound too terribly depressing.
No, but it's the best way, really.
It is.
Like, do you remember the days?
Yeah.
Do you remember the days of Facebook when you would put song lyrics as how you were feeling?
Oh yeah.
I actually still do.
I remember my MSN,
MySpace.
like, my MSN
Fucking
signature
MySpace.
was, like, a line from the most emo song I was listening to at the time.
Yeah,
And that was...
always.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also you put all those like random characters around either side of it, like the squiggly line, then the high up little pixely thing, and then a slightly lower pixely thing, and make it look like falling snow.
Oh my god!
You know
you're
what the
bringing
fuck
me
I'm
back.
talking about.
Yes.
Can we bring? I want to bring back the art of the very personal status. I feel like it's gone now. I feel like Facebook is all news
I guess
articles.
that's the news, like, bio.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
In a way, at least.
I feel like it had its place, and now I've
moved on.
outgrown it, and I feel like we as a culture have outgrown it.
That's true.
I think we should all migrate back to MySpace, though.
I would love that. Remember, like, you would pick a song to play, like, when people...
Yeah.
I want a
you.
song player on my Facebook.
That
You
would be
can hide it so
amazing.
that motherfuckers couldn't even find it to turn it off.
And you had
So
your, like,
much.
top... Was it, like, top 10? Or
Yeah.
top 8?
Yeah,
Was it top 8?
Top
Top
10.
10.
Top 8.
Ooh, Google will tell
Got people
us.
begging for my top 8 spaces.
Or was it, like... Was it
White
another
and nerdy.
random number, like, top... I'm gonna find out real quick.
It was top 8. It was top 8 for sure.
Top 8.
Let's see. So MySpace.
No, I just quoted White and Nerdy. It was definitely top 8 pages.
top 8.
Spaces. My MySpace page is totally pimped out. Got people begging for my top 8 spaces. Yo, I'm hide it 1,000 places. Ain't got no grills, but I still wear braces.
Oh, top 8. Could you guys pick your top 8 friends right now?
From MySpace? Jesus,
Like-
no. From now?
Well, first of all, do they also have MySpace?
In this world, we all have MySpace. It's a MySpace
Jesus.
world.
Okay, so... Okay,
Well-
you go first.
Okay, so I mean, Jay would be a definite, obviously.
I would laugh so hard if you didn't put him in.
All of her work friends, and I'm just like number 9.
Top 10, but
I
not
just
top
totally
8.
forgot.
These people mean something to me. You're just a dick.
I just live with you.
D?
You're just the living room. It's fine.
Not D.
Okay, so it'd be Jay, Shannon, Crystal, Heather. It's top 4.
I don't really think that there's a ranking in the top 8. It's just your...
Like
It
my
came in
parents,
order.
my brother, and Ricky.
Ricky, good choice. Old roommate.
And like one of my old friends. I love him so
He's a
much.
great guy. For me, okay, Kat,
Hey.
obviously.
Thanks for leaving me out.
Hey, not only significant other, but also like so many things that I find online I share with you over Messenger immediately. Like I don't share it on Facebook and then like tag you in it.
There's
I
things we
will
wanna
just share it with
yeah,
you.
Same.
Aww.
So that is our level of connection
Aww.
for me.
I want
it is.
that.
It's great when you find it. Mostly it's dogs and cats. Like a lot of cute dogs and cats.
So many.
So Kat is first. I would say my mom and my sister would be second and third. Because I talk with them a lot, especially online. My dad generally isn't online except through my mom. And then the other 5 would have to be my D&D group. So
Yeah,
Emma,
true, though.
Chad, Nico, Brad, and Hannah. So those 5 are my peeps.
That's so
And that's
cool.
all 8.
We
Yeah,
need to bring
that's fair.
MySpace back.
Yeah,
we
I feel like it's good where it is.
I miss
Is it
Pixel.
gone?
I mean,
No,
it's
it's still
basically just a
there.
music website right now.
okay.
Like people can like use it for putting up their band stuff and putting up
So it's
music
like a
videos and
SoundCloud,
stuff.
but
Yeah,
just-
basically.
No one uses as much. I miss Pixo. That was my
Oh my
favorite.
god, Pixel!
I had so many websites.
Holy
Do you remember
fuck.
GeoCities?
Angel Fire
Yahoo GeoCities web pages.
and Angel Fire.
Angel Fire. I remember Angel Fire
I
too.
don't remember Angel Fire.
It was basically just like
was a East
create
Coast
your
thing.
own website shit. And of course, they wouldn't give you any instructions or anything. Just like, here are the tools that you have.
Have fun.
Yeah, and
It's just
so
essentially text and text
yeah,
boxes.
text and like clip art.
links. Yeah, clip
It was
art.
all just clip art and text,
Amazing.
and it was so bad. I remember trying to make a website, but I didn't have any ideas for content. I just wanted to make a website, so I didn't have anything
All
to
of
put
my
on
friends
it.
have websites.
Do you guys remember LiveJournal?
I never went on
had
it.
one.
Oh, I was so into it.
I
Clumsy
had-
Starseed
oh.
was my name.
Oh, I had
That's so good.
I had the goth version of LiveJournal though. Like
The goth version?
fucking what is it called?
Tumblr?
Pre-Tumblr. Well done. But it was pre-Tumblr. No.
just feel like that's what it is.
The
It was a-
vampire website.
It was like vampire or goth, very specific like blog
remember what you're
website.
talking about,
It was
yeah.
like late high school for me, like just after graduating high school,
DeviantArt?
maybe. No,
I
I was
love
definitely
my
on DeviantArt. Don't get me
I
wrong.
have DeviantArt still.
Oh my god, I still have a DeviantArt. I haven't checked it in fucking years.
I had one for photography and one for just drawings and shit.
And mine was all drawings and also
Did you put any of your writing up?
a little bit of it. None of my Jadarendir stuff. None of my main story stuff is what I should say. Oh my god, what was it called? That's going to drive me insane.
Should I just
We'll
Google
leave it.
goth MySpace and see what happens?
Goth, yeah, MySpace or LiveJournal or something.
Because I
It
feel
was
like
more
I've seen
MySpace, I
pictures
think.
that like had them like the
Vampire
MySpace.
Freaks?
Vampire Freaks!
It
That
came
was
up as
fucking
I
it.
literally Googled goth MySpace and it's the first one.
Vampire Freaks. I was totally on that.
Their
I remember
SEO's
the
on
pictures
point.
from that website that had like Vampire Freaks in the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like when they started being on Facebook, like their very first profile picture, and in the bottom right hand or left hand corner, whatever, says Vampire Freaks.
That is so funny. What a throwback. Wow.
Man, like I couldn't even remember the name of that website, but at the time for me that was just like that was my land, that was my peeps.
Oh, I love
I
that.
would go on there. I had like 3 different metal songs like in a loop playing on my page or something like that.
I miss the days of putting things out there passive aggressively because you just couldn't communicate with, like, you would just put statuses or like stuff up and like, but you wouldn't tell that person, but you would put it in your like live journal entry or something.
Yeah,
just
that's
hoping that they would see it.
Yeah, that never happens anymore.
I do that all the time though. Like there are things that I want to post,
Yep.
and I'm just like, but I don't want anyone that I know to see that I'm writing about. I just want to throw it into the void.
That,
and,
I
like,
do it all the time.
let out my frustration. But like,
Yeah,
even
Facebook
on
does
Tumblr,
its job
where I
too
would
well.
get to do that. Like I know people or people I know have my Tumblr, and I'm like, I don't really want them to like ask me questions and see if I'm feeling okay. Like I just want to just let it out.
It's funny the different social media platforms and like figuring out where to put what message, because there's 100% things
appropriate.
that I cannot put on Facebook because
But you can put on Twitter.
But Twitter is like, I remember that there was an analogy that was talking about social media as like a high school, and I forget what they said Facebook was, but it was like Twitter is the people smoking out in the back, like talking, and like I'm like, I like that more. Like I don't use Twitter as much, but whenever there's something that I'm thinking might be too controversial for Facebook, I put it on Twitter.
For me,
Twitter.
I like Facebook because I have the option to just sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Like, I can just like watch all the chaos happen if I want.
I do love when that happens.
And then
every now
occasionally
and then.
just poke, like, maybe you should rethink your position on this, and then watch the fireworks happen. It's great.
Snowflakes, libtards, cucks, snowflakes.
Yeah, why did cucks make a comeback? Like, what the fuck is that about?
I have no idea.
Like, it means, like, cuck, like a cuckold. Like,
Right.
Are you saying you're sleeping with all of the left's wives or something?
I thought it was just you wanted to see your girlfriend get banged by someone else.
That's if you are a cuckold, but if you're calling someone a cuck,
Oh, interesting.
then I guess
that's
that
a
would
weird-
mean that you're saying
their
that
wife
they're-
is cheating on them.
Yeah, so
Oh.
so liberal
Potentially with
cucks
you.
would be all liberals are being cuckolded? I don't fucking know. It doesn't make any sense. It's the
But
same
then
as
again, the
Snowflake.
right
Like with Snowflake, they're taking a term like that was first coined in Fight Club. Chuck Palahniuk, or whatever, however you pronounce his name, a book written by a gay man about the dangers of toxic masculinity. And you're calling people snowflakes like that is going to help enhance your message?
Weird.
People are fun.
No. People are fun and fucked up, let me tell you. But back to the music thing.
Oh my god, right.
Right, well, that's what we were talking about.
When did you get the idea to do essentially like a web series? Is that what you call it, a web series?
I would say just an internet
YouTube page.
presence.
To do these songs on the fly.
Oh yeah.
I want to know all about this.
Well, obviously when we started working together at the Alexander Keith's Brewery, a big part of that job is music. So when I started, it was very, very simple, just a guitar, potentially a bodhrán, and then vocals. Yeah. And it was fabulous. It was simple, but
3 parts maximum.
And I always loved working with Jay because I knew that I would have guitar backup, which is always lovely. Like, I have no qualms singing a cappella, and most of the people, at least back then, didn't either. And guitar's always lovely.
I can't speak highly enough for Keith's Brewery for developing my guitar game. Because, when I first signed on, I was very, I had maybe 3 years of guitar experience, but I still considered myself a drummer.
Right.
And then I got on as a tour actor at Keith's, and I started playing guitar every shift that I was working, and then eventually it was just you know what? I'm not a drummer who plays guitar anymore. I am a guitarist as well as a drummer.
Right.
And that was a real turning point for me.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a big snap.
That's where it started.
Right.
And then flash forward to us before we started dating. I think we were over at his place, and he'd introduced me to his favorite band, Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
And he'd mentioned, we should learn this song, which was called Mother Superior. So we learned it. It's tough. It is so good.
The harmonies are just amazing.
Is that the song that you sang on the Dead episode?
I think we
said, because it was the one I think I downloaded it on Spotify the next day. I couldn't get it out of my fucking head.
You messaged us about that.
Yeah, I was
thank you for introducing me to this.
I love this. Yeah.
So we learned that, and we started learning more songs together. We when we went to PEI, every year, his family and a whole bunch of friends have this whole. It's a week of just beach music and beers, and it's
so fun.
Amazing.
All the best things in life.
The moments in which I am sober and awake can be measured in minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was a glorious week.
Wow.
And so one of the big things is, they'll sit out on the beach every day, and there are always instruments, and there's always music playing.
Yeah.
And it's if one person's not playing guitar and leading songs, someone else is taking over, and it just nonstop. And they have this big concert at the end of the week where Bruce and Jay and a couple other folks who go every week will have this big concert, and people get up and perform. It's we did a couple songs for that, and
we have a rule too on PEI.
Oh yeah,
the same song cannot be played twice in 1 week.
Oh,
so that is something that has been my dad has been pioneering that rule in the last few years. Because, so
we don't get 10,000 wagon wheels.
Exactly.
Play wagon wheel.
Yeah, there are certain songs. I believe we discussed this in our first episode, that the people who play them are just are you seriously requesting that shit right now? Yeah. For me, it's Sweet Caroline. Wagon Wheel is definitely one of the other ones for some people.
And what was that a couple of weeks ago at your show? You guys played Wagon Wheel and
Sweet Caroline
back to back, and I sent you a text. I'm like, can I make a request?
Don't play those.
Can I never hear those two songs played again? Is that a request you will take?
That's there was a while ago, I think at Dirty Nelly's.
Back to back.
There was one of the kitchen staff requested, hey, if somebody requests this, ignore them. And I'm pretty sure that was about Wagon Wheel.
Amazing.
Good.
Because
Fight the good fight.
Because you can only Dirty Nellies has performers every single night of the week, pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
So the amount of times
They
that
must
kitchen
hear it.
staff hears Wagon Wheel.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And they
feel
have
so
to.
bad for them.
They've been listening to us every Saturday for the last fucking
5 years, 6
8
years,
years.
8. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, seriously, 7 or 8. We were at the Elephant and Castle for 2 or 3 years, and then they went under, and we got picked up by Dirty Nellies like the next week.
Right.
And we've been playing for almost 10 years now. So yeah, like 6 or 7 years at Nellies.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Like it doesn't feel like that long.
Wow.
You know? But at the same time, like
It feels like that long.
it feels like more than that long and less than that long at the same time. Just when I say it's that long, it feels weird. I don't know why.
Right. No, yeah, that's odd.
So we'd been singing songs on the beach, and Jay and his dad had requested, or had Fairy Tale of New York requested at their gigs a lot around Christmas time.
Very popular Christmas song by the Pogues.
Ever heard that song?
No?
I've heard people mention that song.
It's such a good Christmas song. It's probably my favorite Christmas song.
I'll probably recognize it if I look it up.
Yeah.
And then Jay had never wanted to sing it with his dad just because
The
the
parts-
song isn't really built for
A father and son. The parts are a man and a woman, and they are clearly in a relationship. And at certain points it's like we're in love, and then at other points it's like you cheap lousy
Fucking hate
faggot.
you.
Oh my god!
Cheap lousy faggot is a specific
Is it a
line from
Christmas
that
song?
song.
God,
Yeah, it's a
it's
Christmas
our
song. It's the
last-
best Christmas song.
It's so good.
Oh shit!
It's like how Die Hard is the best Christmas movie.
Yes.
This song is the best Christmas song.
interesting.
And I'm the one who let her watch Die Hard and realized that it
Not
was the
even
best
let.
Christmas movie.
I hadn't watched it before. He was like, "We need to watch it." I was like,
I
"Yes."
know.
Is
we
it better
do.
than Love Actually?
Yes, it is the.
I don't know. I
greatest
mean,
Christmas
I
movie.
like Die Hard, but I think Love Actually, that was adorable. By the way.
No, Die Hard forever.
Like
Oh, man.
I love me some Love Actually,
Live for your Die Hard.
but honestly, what Alan Rickman's in both, and he's better in Die Hard.
Shit! I didn't even make that connection!
He's better in Die Hard.
Truth.
I mean, fair enough. Fucking fair. I saw it in theaters for the first time, actually.
Hans Gruber.
Within the last 3 years. I went at Christmas time and saw Die Hard at Park Lane. They played it like
amazing.
a couple days before Christmas.
Oh
and
my
I
god,
went.
I want to see that.
There
If
was
they
a
do it again. Can we go?
Oh, definitely.
Fuck yeah.
And was
Yeah.
that like a Thrillima thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember Thrillima because I saw Jurassic Park, the
Oh!
first one, in Park Lane Theater on like the original film, and it had all those like spots and like nicks and like
cool.
imperfections, but that made it so much better because I'd already seen it on DVD. Like I don't give a shit if it's perfect.
You want
I
that
wanna
old
see
school
it on
experience.
film.
Vintage
Yeah.
feel.
Yes, yes, that was so good.
So yeah, so we sang that song,
Yeah,
and that was kind of the first time that I was invited to sing with Jay at Nellie's, and that's kind of where it started.
Right.
Because we were doing that, learned a couple other songs that we could sing there. We were singing at Nellie's on, a semi-regular basis. It felt like whenever I could make it up to Nellie's for the show, we did 1 or 2 songs. Now we're up to like 3 every time.
I mean, pretty much every time that you show up, Dad can take an extra couple minutes of break while we play a couple songs. So it works for him and it works for us.
And the crowd doesn't seem to mind.
No, they love the way you sing. I mean, definitely there are a few ones that we keep on doing there, like Through and Through and Through. Joel Plaskett.
At least they know they're
It's one
really
of
good at it.
one of our favorite songs to play at Nellie's.
That's a great
'cause,
one.
Joel Plaskett, you gotta love playing songs by a local boy.
He's fantastic.
There's actually a friend of mine. Grew up across the street from me. I grew up across the street from him because he's about 10 years older than me, Marco DeQuinzio. And he also goes to PEI, so, Kat has also got a good relationship with him. Makes the most amazing rosticini in the world. Has a specialized grill for it. It's amazing.
Marco, make extra this summer.
Yes. Salted lamb's meat on a stick.
I want all of that.
Come on, DeQuinzio.
You want all of it.
Oh my god, it's good.
The reason I bring it up, though, is because apparently when he was in high school, he had a house party at the place across the street from where I grew up, and Joel Plaskett, pre-becoming famous, He was the musician who was playing at that
No
party.
shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I mean,
I
maybe
didn't
I'm
know
getting
that.
some of the details wrong about that. It's
That's
been
super
years
cool.
since I heard
But
the
you
story.
can see that
but,
happening,
like,
right?
Yeah,
He's just the type that you can see that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I also, when I was in high school, I played with my band Oddity, the Audity, by the way. So, like, audio oddity. I thought that was kind of clever. But we played at this, like, fire hall in Tantallon one time, and it was the most out-of-the-way fucking place in the world. And there was a bunch of bands playing, ours being one in a very long lineup. And headlining was Joel Plaskett.
A+.
And this was post becoming famous. Like, this was Joel Plaskett minus the emergency, just himself. And, like, my dad was doing sound that night for that show, and he got to meet and talk to Joel Plaskett.
Yeah.
And then, like, when he was on stage, he was just the nicest fucking guy.
Yeah, he's just an all-around grade A guy.
He's such a good guy.
And his songs are just, like, they're always so good.
Yeah.
He knows how to write good songs.
Cannot say an unkind word about Joel Plaskett.
If you're not from the Maritimes or Canada, I know I have some listeners in the States. Check out Joel Plaskett.
Joel Plaskett.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Plaskett.
Story, at least for my end. I grew up in BC, and like would spend my summers in New Brunswick, but the entire school year I was in BC. And the year I graduated high school, he was touring the album 3. And came to my hometown in the interior of BC, and I got to see him after, being familiar with his CDs. Ashtray Rock was my very first album, and it's still one of my go-tos. It's so good.
Snowden.
Snowden is such a good song.
Snowden. Snowden.
Snowden.
Trio. We're a trio now.
Snowed.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I remember the last time. Oh my god, I remember hearing that song so often on Q104 when I was working at the Needs in Farnham Gate.
Amazing.
That was so fucking long ago. That was like, oh my god, that would have been like 2010.
It's just his music speaks to the East Coast.
Oh yeah,
and
so hard.
And that was the thing. Like it was this tiny little theater. I was sitting front and center. It was a small little stage. He had a carpet on it. Rose Cousins was one of his backup singers.
She's so good.
His dad was touring with him as well. And, like, they have their song now. Like, it was such an intimate, magical experience. But he was exuding that East Coast personality that I recognized and loved. And it was, a very small crowd because BC wasn't familiar with him really at that point. But it was still one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to.
There's something so wholesome about it, right?
Well, he has that line about playing a show in BC and love this town.
Yeah, isn't that's the reason why I hate this town?
Kelowna,
right before he says that.
Yeah. I wonder if he plays that in Kelowna and changes the lyrics at all.
He probably changed it to Kamloops, which is where I'm from. It's like one of those like town rivalries that aren't really rivalries, but they're like, that place.
So like Leafs versus
them.
Habs.
Right.
Yeah, except the hate's not as real.
Fair enough. I'm not a hockey fan, so I guess I don't really have a first-hand experience on how intense that hatred is.
Yeah, it's salty.
Salty.
But yeah, so we sing
cool.
Joel Plaskett and Ellie's. We'll sing some Jason Mraz, like a whole bunch of different tunes. But the day that it all started was we were driving to Truro to go meet a cat breeder, and Jay has my Spotify account on his phone because, like, fuck it, I'm not always listening to Spotify. Like, he can use it and listen to music.
Yeah.
He had a whole
Don't gotta pay for 2
appreciate
accounts, yo.
Fuck no.
Same with I have a Netflix account and she can use it.
It works.
So I
Find
use her.
you someone that you can share accounts with.
Get that login info.
I use her
Lock it
Spotify.
down.
She uses my Netflix.
Yeah,
it works out great.
That works perfect.
So although he had all of his songs saved, occasionally one of my songs would sneak in. And Joanne by Lady Gaga kind of came on. I was like, oh, I love this. And we were singing and like harmonizing. And he was like, would you like me to learn it? I'm like, looked at him like, yes. So
there was a very serious look in her eyes. I actually became fearful for my life for a moment.
Yes, learn this.
An intensity that can only be Lady Gaga.
All of the Lady Gaga. I want to sing all the Lady Gaga.
Oh, damn.
So he...
Also Heart.
Oh, yeah. So all the Heart and all the Queen. Like, my 3 go-tos. So, anyway, like a week or something passed, and I get a video from him while I'm at work, and I look at it, and it's him playing Joanne. Oh. And I was like, fuck yeah. So we filmed it after running through it once, posted it, and because I was just like, this is so great. And kind of decided, like, let's do this again, because we can. And it goes back to us talking about, you know, being with someone who is just as competent as you when it comes to music.
Competent is such a word to use.
Yeah, just as awesome.
Yeah.
I would say.
But I mean, it's like...
Not just competent.
No, it gets more.
Give yourselves more credit, you talented people.
I mean, nothing wrong with competency, but it just sounds like such a baseline word to
It does. It's just like you did okay. Like you passed.
Competent.
Set the bar real low.
Like, imagine saying that to someone after you just slept with them. You were competent.
I'm seriously. I'm gonna say that from now on.
You were competent.
I would define you as competent.
Just above competent. Just below it.
Bingo card that you should bring it up at least once during episode 69.
I cannot wait.
Competency is bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, someone who you know will pick up chords and can fit in harmonies that actually sound good. Mm. It was really, really cool.
That's
to
so
have
fucking
that,
cool.
because he picked it up so quickly. Like my ukulele, he picked it up so quickly. He's got a lot of really phenomenal talent when it comes to picking something up and learning it.
Well, for me, it's just about being adaptable to the situation. And music, of course, is extremely reliant on that. And you're certainly not lacking in terms of adaptability.
Thanks, babe.
I mean...
I can make up new harmonies like nothing.
Yeah, harmonies are great for that. And even just like... When, we've been practicing sort of like... We haven't practiced in a while. We should, for sure. But we were practicing Miss You by Blink-182.
Oh,
you know that song. And, and that's sort of a guitar line that requires a bass line. And she picked up her acoustic bass, which she has one and is good at it. And, you know, we started practicing that. We've only practiced it once or twice, but even just like that first time, it sounded so good. Yeah. And we had never tried it before together, and I did all the Mark vocal parts. She did all the Tom vocal parts.
Because who wouldn't want to be Tom in that song?
Where are you?
I'm so sorry.
I cannot sleep. I cannot dream tonight.
I need somebody and always.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so distinct. It's
like
such
from
a
all
distinct
the
voice.
spiders catching things and eating their insides.
Decision to call you.
And hear your voice.
And the thing that really got me about that when we were learning that song, I know I'm just diverting away from that as fast as possible, but it was the fact that we didn't have to talk about it first. We just kind of slid into those parts.
That's so neat.
We knew where each of us would fit in that song before we even started playing.
No, I just wanted to be Tom.
That's so fucking cool, though.
That's cool, because I like being Mark.
And you guys went to the library.
Yeah, that was our first official recording session together.
And our first official song on the fly.
True, that
was
too. Yeah.
My request.
Yes.
Your request, exactly.
So that day, but I knew we were going to go to the library and record some songs, and unbeknownst to Jay, I posted on my Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was totally her idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea, though.
I was just like, hey, Jay and I are going to the library. Does anyone have any requests for something that they want us to learn that like we can learn and do like a quick and dirty version of, essentially?
And then I saw that post and was like,
So we're doing requests now?
Oh, damn.
What is this? Why are you doing this?
And you were in like a not great mood.
I was not in a good mood that day. Like, I went to the library basically in a, like, I want to punch somebody mood.
In a huff.
Yeah, and by the time we got up to the recording booth, I remember we tried doing Mother Superior first.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hardest songs to play on guitar and also do vocals on for me. So that was probably a bad decision to try that one first, because every time I screwed up, it was just the most frustrating feeling in the world.
Ugh.
And I got in a worse and worse mood as we went on.
And I was sitting there and being like, it's cool. Like, it sounds fine.
Yeah.
I understand, like, it's okay, it's okay.
Don't
But
beat
then-
yourself up.
Yeah, we got a good recording on it, and like we had enough tracks that like eventually I cobbled together like a Frankenstein audio track, and we ended up releasing that video.
Yeah.
And then we did Joanne, which we had already done a live version, which Kat said is kind of like our first songs on the fly, quote unquote.
I love that song.
And then we did another Coheed and Cambria song, Two's my favorite one.
Yeah, which is from their second most recent album, I believe.
And then we chose a song from the list, and the one that we chose was
Nice though.
Yeah, which
Can't
is
Help Falling in Love with You.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the name of it?
Yeah, Can't Help
Can't
Falling
Help
in
Falling
Love
in
by, or at least
Love that
originally by
song.
Elvis.
By
and
Elvis?
We did like we did more of the Ingrid Michaelson version, and by we I mean vocally me, because the
Right.
chords are the same.
Same.
yeah.
But yeah,
And
you
essentially
Yeah,
what
such a
happened
good
was
version.
we looked over the list of requests that we had from that post she made, and we were just like, okay, which one of these can we struggle through and make it sound like we've played it before?
And I was
Yeah.
familiar, and the chords were easy enough that
Yeah, we had a list of chords from like Guitar Pro or something, guitarpro.com, guitartabs.com, I don't remember. And we had it on auto scroll for me so that I could just read the chords while I'm playing.
Oh, wow.
And do a random
I'm obsessed.
finger
That
picking
app is
thing.
amazing.
It's
Their website's
really good. I honestly think I might like
Give you my
pay
login.
for it soon.
I'll give you my login.
You
That's
paid
so
for it already?
cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm such a bad guitar player.
I'm the best. I'm so good that I don't even play.
And so you just pick the song, and like how much time between when you pick it and when you go live?
We
usually
tried it
10
once.
to 15 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a lot of
Like,
time.
I looked over the chords. She already basically knew the lyrics, but had them in front of her just in case. We tried it once, and we're like, yeah, okay, this is manageable.
This is gonna work.
That's
like,
so
it definitely
fucking
was
cool.
not perfect. Even in the video that went up, it wasn't perfect. But
Yeah, none of the ones we've done have been.
no, but
'cause
at
they're
the
new.
same time, it's songs on the fly. Perfection is not the
You
point.
cannot expect, and they're damn fucking good. Let me tell you. As someone who's not a musician, I would not pick up on any fuck ups you made.
I'd say the most challenging one so far we've done was Pardon
Incubus.
Me by Incubus.
Incubus.
That one was, like, that is a song that I have been practicing on guitar for about a year, maybe more. And it's still so goddamn difficult.
And
Fuck.
the only reason I was familiar with it is because I've been hearing him play it.
Right.
And
So I'm like, I don't know the words. I'm vaguely familiar with the melody, and he can play the guitar parts.
sort of. I didn't play it perfectly either. Like, I messed up the last chord, which is the worst. If you mess up the last chord, people are just
It
like,
just ends on a
oh
bad
man,
note."
that really sucks.
Yeah.
If you mess
playing
up the
Guitar
first
Hero.
chord, no one remembers. But by the end of the song, they're like, that was perfect.
So funny. Damn, so that's
that was brutal. At least from my end.
It's really terrifying when you go live to play a song that you don't really know.
because the audience, like, it's not a physical audience in front of you, but like you know
Who they
people are
are.
watching.
Yeah, you see when people sign on, and sometimes they comment like, hey, what's going on? Really looking forward to this. I'm like, oh, okay, great. That's awesome.
Lower your expectations.
Where'd the name Rowdy 2 come from?
Good question. So there's
I'll let you take this.
okay, I'll take it. There's a series that I have been put onto by my D&D friends called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Everyone should watch.
Everyone
so they can get
should watch.
a third season.
Yes. Yes. So basically, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency is based on a series of novellas or novels by Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, among other things, and also was one of the original members of Monty Python. And basically the show has 2 seasons right now, both available on Netflix. They are fucking amazing. I cannot speak highly enough. They are literally, I have Doctor Who tattoos on my legs right now, and I can say right now I prefer Dirk Gently to Doctor Who.
Oh my god! Son,
I know.
You're gonna get a Dirk Gently.
That is a weird thing for me to
What
say.
tattoo are you getting and where?
I don't know, but I will decide, and I will get it.
A light bulb.
Probably a light bulb.
And a pair of scissors.
Yeah, maybe a crossbow. Basically, in the show, Dirk Gently's, there's a shark kitten, which is awesome.
Get that tattoo.
Yeah, I probably will.
Just get a tattoo of the kitten, and people are like, oh, you have a kitten. I'm like,
no,
that's a shark.
No, it's outlined by a hammerhead shark.
I love this. Anyway, sorry, spoiler alert.
So, in the show, there's a group of people who are known as the Rowdy Three. There are 4 of them, and they are essentially psychic vampires. They feed off of pain and anxiety and all the things negative in a person's brain. And they are my favorite characters in the whole show because all they do is they show up in their ratty ass fucking van, and then they get out of the van, they shout, and they take baseball bats and they beat the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
Just because that's fun. And it's also, they happen to be some of the most forward-thinking and some of the most compassionate people on the show. Also the most logical in some instances, despite the fact that they're also clearly insane. And
in the best way.
Just the show, it's
Can't
amazing.
recommend it enough.
No,
It cannot recommend it enough. Like it's
that quirkiness that you expect from Douglas Adams.
Like
where
Jekyll,
it's rooted in reality, but is very much like just the most fiction-y fiction ever.
it's reality turned up to 11.
Yeah.
And Jekyll used to be my acid test. I think Dirk Gently is now.
Oh, interesting.
If you can make
New
it through the
acid
first
test.
episode and want to watch the second episode of Dirk Gently, you pass.
Interesting.
You can be my friend
So the
now.
first episode is the telltale.
Like the first episode, here's the thing: it's hard to get into and really easy to continue.
Yeah.
Because if you can make it past
in my first sitting.
Yeah, you watch the first 2 episodes,
And you're
that's good. Once you get to the 3rd episode, you're done. You're hooked. There's no turning back.
That's a short amount of episodes. Like I always say, like with certain shows that I like, it's 5 or 6.
No,
that, like-
3 for Dirk Gently.
Wow, interesting.
Seriously.
Interesting.
So so we took that and I don't know, we were tossing. We were like jokingly tossing out names every once in a while, and then I forget which one of us was like, "Oh, like the Rowdy Two." Like, "Oh, that'd be fun."
It actually
I feel
works
like it
better
was
than-
you. It's too it's too
take
clever to have been me.
Aw.
I'm just saying the Rowdy Two would also be a good podcast name.
True enough.
And like I joked about it because the more I thought about it, I was like, the more this might work because I mean, right now at least we're doing all acoustic covers,
Right.
So it's the idea where like the Rowdy 3 are 4 people, the Rowdy 2 are 2 people, but we do less rowdy versions of potentially rowdy songs.
But I also
very
like the
true.
idea that we can be the Rowdy 2 and also have like guest stars on.
Oh fuck yeah,
Like have people sit in with us. There's 3 of us. We're still the Rowdy 2.
yeah,
Fuck yeah.
I like that.
And I'm going to make sure that I link to your Facebook. And you have
Yes.
Instagram too, right?
We don't have Instagram. We, do have YouTube.
Okay.
We have
YouTube
YouTube.
and Facebook I will link to.
Yes. We should get an
YouTube.
Instagram though. Should we not?
So I'll run it.
You'll be running it, yes. I don't really use Instagram.
It's a lot of fun. It's my favorite one.
I feel no. Facebook does the exact same thing.
It does.
At least at this point for us.
Hey, your call.
Yeah, we're sticking with Facebook. And
Well, I mean,
YouTube.
because that's where you go live, right? So it makes
Yeah.
sense. So we're gonna wrap it up really quickly.
Are we?
Yeah, I'm almost at 2 hours.
Oh my
fair
goodness.
enough. Wow, really?
But I want to end on a question for both of
Yes.
you. What's your favorite thing about the other person?
I already told you his butt.
Is that your official answer?
No.
Because I think in the Dead episode. I feel every time we mention the Dead episode, I want to play a tombstone, some sort of sound effect.
I should have
the theme song from the Crypt
Can you
Keeper.
pass me some paper towel there?
Yes, I sure.
I went dun dun dun, spilled my drink all over me. Well, honestly, my favorite thing about him, it's the same as it was in the last episode, and it's been touched on a little bit in this one. It's the fact that Jay is one of the most open, understanding, open-minded individuals that I've ever met. And there are a lot of, I try to, surround myself with people who are genuine in that sense, who are aware of their social standing, who understand that, there's not one way to do or be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a level of empathy and understanding for the people who, have less and are less privileged and do face different things than he does. Like, he's always aware, he is empathetic, he is understanding, and he doesn't take his position in stride.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
And that is my favorite thing about Jay.
Try to follow that.
And
Jay.
his butt.
Yeah, I don't really know how to follow that.
You're like, I'm done.
I'm very, very flattered right now.
What she said. No, just
I don't want to go with that answer, but honestly, a lot of my answer would have to be the same thing. I mean, much of what attracted me to Kat in the first place was, first of all, her relentless positivity, which is something that I'm sorely lacking. Mm-hmm. I am, in many ways, a very negative person, and in some ways, a very angry person. But at the same time, I find that I am very well balanced by Kat, in that she sort of brings just some light to the darkness that I see in many aspects of what goes on in the world around me. At the same time, she's honest. She is not disillusioned with who she is or how she acts.
That's a big one.
And yeah, it's very much an issue of how genuine a person is, and she is one of the most genuine people, I should say, one of the most genuine people that I've had the pleasure of knowing.
Oh. And I gotta say, I made you say that for a second time. Kat's reaction, the exact same as the first time. Like, literally the exact same grin. And just like, oh, damn.
Oh, girl.
That was so...
got me a good one.
I gotta say, like, I haven't done a couples episode in a long time. Minus the Dead episode.
Yeah.
Dong dong.
Not saying anything.
But like, honest to God, it's so fucking cool and refreshing to hear people talk about each other like that. Like, because you see some relationships and you just think, like, where's the passion? Where's the chemistry? Like, what's going on here? And then there's other couples that you're just like, this just fucking works and it's just perfect. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's what you guys are. It's like, it's exactly what you said. A balance. Mm-hmm. It's such a really cool balance because you're very different, but you're very similar.
I would say that's accurate.
Yeah.
You're very similar in talent and stuff like that.
I'll tell you what,
but you're different personalities.
He's a dog.
I'm a cat.
Honestly, is that like I would be in the, I feel like, chocolate lab sort of breed.
Why gotta be chocolate?
I don't know. Golden Retriever seemed a little hackneyed.
Or a golden lab.
Yeah, all right.
I'll take it.
Any color lab, really. And yeah, a cat is very much a cat, but I don't know. In
good
some
aspect of
like,
both. Yeah, honestly,
we definitely both have aspects of each because we both value personal contact and affection. And we also very much value, each of us in our own right, personal space.
Excuse me.
I love that those burps the beginning of the episode, you like would lean away from the mic, and you lean towards the mic this time. Ember, it's fantastic.
That's pretty much how our relationship went too.
I love
like
it.
at first she would kind of hold back on the burps. Now it's just like full throttle.
Lady, excuse me.
Yeah, no, you have never excused yourself. Never once.
Ooh, golly gee.
Such a lady.
I'm pretty sure one time you excused yourself. You were like, "Excuse me," and I said, "There is no excuse for you."
Yep. And I said fair.
So we stopped after that. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like we are equal parts, both of us, dog and cat.
I love it.
In that we both think they are both adorable.
Yes.
Well, you guys are adorable, and you guys have reignited my love for love.
Aww.
Because I'm very single and lonely, and it's very incredibly hard sometimes to... It's hard to, like... It can be... You really have two choices when you have friends who are couples. You can choose to be jealous and bitter and, like, fuck them. But, like, why I do these episodes is, like, I want to sit down and, like, really... learn about each love story in a way, and I'm deep down beneath all the bitterness. Like, I really am a hopeless fucking romantic. God fucking damn it! Ooh, I hate it about
Single
me.
gentleman.
But like when I do these episodes, it
Get
brings
your shit together. Sarah's over here.
I mean, it is.
She's single. She will mingle.
Oh, I'm sick of
And
mingling.
she is a heckin' catch.
Thank you.
So get your shit together.
Are you
I
two
don't
gonna
always-
make out now?
Jesus.
I don't always feel like a catch, but and I don't always feel like love is something in my future, but like when I do these couples episodes, it makes me want to have it in my future, like because like even just seeing you sitting there smiling at him, I'm like, that's what I want to feel. I want to feel that way. So it's super inspiring, and thank you guys so much. Like, I feel like this actually turned out better than the last one. I don't want to knock the dead episode, but
That's true, because it was fun because we got to, rehash things, but also go deeper into things.
go deeper into it. That's exactly what it fucking
Which was
is.
awesome.
This was fucking fantastic. I will link to everything below. I'm also going to... I actually have some songs recorded from the Dead episode that didn't get deleted.
Nice.
And a bonus Patreon episode that didn't get deleted. So those will be... Maybe I'll incorporate those recordings into this episode somehow. Maybe in the outro music or something. And then that Patreon episode will be for our $10 and up Patreons, which we only have 2 right now, but quality over quantity. I don't care. I'm giving you what you want. Which is bonus...
Patreons.
Bonus
What was it?
episodes.
Zoe and Tyler.
Zoe and Tyler.
Tyler.
You get
I can't
host-
believe I remembered that.
Yeah,
I
that's
know,
so funny.
right?
Zoe and Tyler.
I had no fucking idea until
Maybe
you said it.
Dream Patreon
Maybe
team.
I can make a Patreon level be that Jankat will write a song for you.
You
Or,
say it's your birthday. It's Zoe and Tyler's birthday too, yeah.
We're gonna have a good time.
What's that from? That's familiar.
That's the Beatles.
Oh, okay. Damn. Well,
We might not write them a song, but if they want a song covered,
Yeah.
we'll do
song
what we
requests
can.
could be part of it.
We're better at covers.
I can't write for shit.
And I also can't write for shit. I've tried, though.
He
I
can
disagree
write.
with both of you. I think you're both artistic geniuses.
Artistic, sure.
You're competent, okay?
We're competent.
Competent.
We're competent.
Competent. So competent. But we shall wrap it up. I'm going to let these guys get on with their night, and I'm going to get the fuck home.
Aw.
But this was a blast. Thank you guys so much for coming on for a second time.
Nah, thanks for
And
having us.
it's tradition. You guys have to do the honors and ring that bell. Perfect. You guys are so fucking cute, you know that? God damn.
We do.
God damn, you give me the chills and the feels.
Alright.